So what's up, guys? I'm Brian and this is Smokey Uncuffed. And most of my videos here recently have all been law enforcement related. You know, I recently retired from the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, and when I worked for them I couldn't talk about it. And so today it's no different. I'm going to talk about a law. And it's going to be one of those that it's going to make some people mad. Some people are going to be okay with it. It's over these dang things. Cell phones, texting and driving, that whole mess. You know, this whole deal in Oklahoma, yeah, it's against the law to text and drive. It's not against the law to talk and drive. The issue with that is you're driving down the road and you're trying to manipulate your phone to call somebody. Well, you're still diverting your attention away from what you'd be looking at, and you're trying to find a phone number. So, I mean, right there is where it gets gray for us. On this side of things, on the law enforcement side of things, okay, say you really are sitting here scrolling trying to find a phone number. You're still manipulating an electronic device while the vehicle's in motion. Legally, you're still breaking the law, because that is how the law is written. It's manipulation of electronic device while the vehicle's in motion. So it's not going to just pertain to texting. So if you're driving down the road and you're flipping through trying to find the phone number, you're still wrong. So point being, if you can use Siri or, and tell her to call this person, or just pull over and find the phone number, dial it, and then take off and start talking. The funny thing about that whole logic is, there's been studies done that have found that getting in a deep conversation driving down the road, although you're looking at the road, your attention is probably diverted just as much as if you were looking at the phone texting. Because you think about it, when you get in a deep conversation and you start talking, you're not really paying attention to the world around you. You're just really thinking about what you're talking about. And so, I mean, honestly, I think that will never go away. We'll be able to talk on phones going down the road. Now, the texting, I don't understand why it's even a possibility. I mean, with the technology we have today, with all the GPSs in the phones, they could simply make it to where when the car reaches 10 miles an hour or 15 miles an hour, whatever, the texting ability just leaves. It's just locked and you can't use it. Now, where are you going to find the blowback on that? What if I'm a passenger? Well, sorry, bad luck. You can't text while you're in the car. I mean, heaven forbid you have to talk to the person that's driving or somebody else in another seat. I mean, that's going to be where you run into issues on it. And from what I understand, there are actually laws in Oklahoma that they're trying to push through this session to try to get it fixed, because they can make the carriers, AT&T, Verizon, all these carriers, they can make it to where that capability is turned on, where if your phone reaches 10, 15 miles an hour, it just locks it up. And I'd be fine with it if it just completely locked phones. Because, I mean, in my opinion, you don't need to be messing with it while you're going down the road. I know that's not going to make everybody happy. I understand that. I mean, it's just a different age, and everybody lives and dies by these things. And unfortunately, a lot are dying simply because there's way too much texting going on. So is there a solid fix for it? Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, as far as trying to enforce it, it's very hard to do. I mean, short of you driving down the road and you got the phone up on the steering wheel and you're sitting there looking at it all the time, or if you're sitting there driving looking straight down, I mean, short of that, it's really hard to do, because, I mean, when you get pulled over, we can't just walk up and say, let me see your phone. We got to have a warrant to do that. I mean, unless you give me permission, if I say, hey, can I see your phone to see if you're actually texting? And, if you, why not just show them? If you honestly weren't manipulating your phone and you were doing something else, fine, just give them your phone. No, I wasn't doing nothing. But in the end, I mean, whenever we work wrecks on fatal accidents or serious bodily injury, can't talk today, we're going to get the information one way or the other. I mean, because we will get warrants on those situations and pull your phone records, and it'll show what time, exactly when you were manipulating the phone, Were you talking on it? Were you texting on it? It'll show us all that stuff. And so, I mean, in those situations, it doesn't matter anyway. We're going to get it. But my whole point is here, try to avoid the whole situation to where we're not getting into wrecks for texting. I mean, I laughed because my wife and I were driving down a highway, and then we got behind a car that was slowing down a lot and speeding up and going across the center, getting on the shoulder. And her first response was, "That guy drunk?" And I said, "No, he's texting." I mean, it's the whole speeding up, slowing down, and you can just tell when they're kind of paying attention and they're kind of not. And this guy was doing bad enough. I said, "We'll just back off and watch him. Shortly, he's going to run off the road." And I bet it wasn't 2 minutes. He runs off the road, loses it, spins out, swaps ends 2 or 3 times, ends up in the middle of the roadway. We just stopped. I didn't get out and check on him, nothing. I mean, he was doing the wrong thing. He knows he was doing wrong. Not to mention I was working and I had my wife, or wasn't working and I had my wife with me. So I'm not going to get out and get in the middle of something with her present, because it then puts her in the danger. So he finally gathered his car up, pulls it off of the shoulder. He was obviously shook up, but don't text going down the road. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So then you get to my other side of it, where you get to hear my conspiracy theory. It runs along the same lines as speeding. Why do we have cars that'll do 120 miles an hour? If you want the speed limit to be 70 miles an hour, make cars where they'll only go 70 miles an hour. You can put a governor on them and they won't go faster. And so here's my conspiracy theory on that. We're not going to do that. We want cars to be able to do 90 and 100 simply because if you're driving slower, you're burning less gas. You're not tearing up your tires as quick. The car will last longer. If you do have a wreck, it's not going to be as bad a wreck if you're going slower. So the hospitals will lose money. Funeral homes will lose money. I mean, you can see where I'm getting at. It's just kind of a snowball effect once all this stuff. So you make things too safe, well, now other businesses are losing money. Now, granted, that is a out there conspiracy theory, but I imagine there is some truth to it. So I look at the cell phone thing as the same way. You know, we make it to where it's too safe. It's going to cut down on wrecks. And again, it's going to affect a bunch of businesses. Again, it's an out there conspiracy theory, but I always got to believe there's a little bit of truth in some of that kind of thing. So then you get right down to it. I mean, have I ever texted while I was going down the road? Well, of course. I mean, who hasn't? Everybody, I mean, but mine's always okay. I'm not a great big texter anyway. I've got family members and friends that laugh at me because if you text me more than 3 times, I'm probably just going to call you. I don't want to sit here and type on the phone. I mean, we can talk and get it worked out in 2 minutes. And we can text for an hour and get the same thing done we could have got done in 2 minutes. I just don't enjoy it. I mean, I'm I guess a little bit older and don't really care about the phone stuff that much, but I do care whenever it affects me driving down the road, whenever there's the possibility my family or friends are going to get involved in an accident because somebody wants to pay more attention to a phone than the road. So in the end, is there a great answer? I mean, like I said, I've just laid it out there. It's probably just going to be putting stuff in legislation that where we change the law to where the carriers have to turn the texting capabilities off whenever you reach a certain speed. I mean, that's the only logical thing I can think of. And you know it's possible. And I'm not talking about you changing your phone yourself to where it's driving mode or anything like that. I don't want the people to be in charge of it, because if you're in charge of it, you know nobody's going to use it. I mean, they're just going to go right around it. So basically this is more about a rant because I've dealt with a few drivers here lately. I mean, I've just ran into them, been around them. Not that I've been working and doing any of that stuff, but it's just more of a rant about it because, man, we've got to do something with it because it's going to end up causing way more problems than what we really need. So guys, that's going to be about it for today. I mean, this wasn't a real long video, but just something I wanted to throw out there. If y'all hadn't subscribed yet, please do so, and I'll see y'all next time.